Welcome, everyone, to the Cup of Coffee podcast with me, your host, Tom Dillon. This is being recorded live at our Tim Pot mobile studio and broadcast around the world. Usually, of course, we record at our weekly online meeting, but as is becoming more common and popular, I've been lucky enough to snag a midweek speaker and therefore share the fruits of that with you on here. So delighted to do that, and trying to do more of that in the future. Today's topic is digitisation of the landlord lifecycle with Aviram Shahar. Before we start, I'd just like to say, by way of a disclaimer, that today is a wonderful discussion, but that nothing said here constitutes financial advice, and you should always take professional advice before investing your hard-earned cash. There may be the odd unplanned swear word along the way as well. The format for today is that Aviram will speak to us for a while, and then we'll be taking questions from me, because I am the floor today. Aviram Shahar is the CEO and co-founder of Lendlord, not Landlord, but Lendlord, where he combines his computer science background with a passion for property and entrepreneurship. He envisions technology-driven empowerment for property investors, fosters innovation at Landlord, I'm not reading this out, and actively contributes to the entrepreneurial community. As CEO, Aviram is dedicated to revolutionizing, that sounds like hard work, the real estate investment for financial success. Hello, Aviram.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well. So because people, might not come across your work or heard of you very much. I mean, they might have done. You might be like Taylor Swift over there, but just in case, for those people who've missed the meeting, why don't we start a little bit about you? What's your sort of background, and then how did you get into the landlord space?
Okay, thanks, Tom, for having me. Happy to be here. So my background is, it started with technology, like computer science. I worked for startups in the e-commerce and fintech industries, performed senior roles on those startups. And I knew that at some point I will start my own company. And when I met my co-founder and we basically brainstormed some ideas, it was clear to me that it should be related to both property and finance, together, like to find a combination that, like a problem that we can solve in this area. Property, because, my parents are landlord. I also invested a bit by myself. And also my co-founder has experience in the property area. And finance, because this is basically part of my experience, my career, and I really like this area. And also my co-founder also come from property lending industry, so also background in finance. So the first problem we found is, we identify that as a landlord, it's not easy to obtain finance, understand your finance options. And there we say, okay, there is a place for technology here. We can actually use algorithms to analyze the profile of the customer, and based on that, match them with mortgage products or remortgage opportunities and things like that. But what happened when we started to onboard users is that we realized that the platform is more than just finance platform. So our users actually manage their property business on our platform. So they can manage all the property details, tenants and tenancies, track the rent collection, track the cash flow. They can also grow the property business on our platform and many other things. So basically it's evolved over the years.
Right. You speak of years. How many years has Landlord been operational?
So we founded Landlord we launched the product in November 2019, just before COVID.
Good. Was that good timing or bad timing?
I think it's a great timing because what happened in COVID is basically people realize that they need to become more digital, and digital tools, landlords for sure. And we did some promotions around resources that landlords need during COVID, and stress test your portfolio if your tenants stop paying the rent and things like that, which basically allow us to get nice traffic to the website. And we started to onboard users during this time. Basically, it was not the greatest time for the world, but was a great time for tech companies, I would say. And I think people realize that tech can help them during, tough periods, but also, after they over, basically.
Okay, fair enough. Well, uh, I always like to start. I always like to start with almost stupid questions. How does, and it's none of my business, but how does Landlord make money? Then are you? Is it a subscription service, or are you making some money off the of lenders and things like that, or a bit of all of the above, or or is it, or should I mind my own business?
No, it's a great question, and we're fully transparent with our users. So the platform is free to use. So our basic plan, which is free, is like very enhanced. So you can manage unlimited properties, unlimited tenancies. You can manage your cash flow. You can do deal analysis. All of this for free. We do have a premium plan with subscription fee for a set of features to just if you want to do a bit more in terms of postcode searches, link your bank account to automate the cash flow and things like that.
Sure.
But we monetize the platform, as you mentioned, with financial transactions. So, like if you use Landlord, you will see all the time the live products for mortgages, remortgages. So if you apply online, you can apply in a digital way. We'll get a commission. And also for bridging, we act as a lender. So we actually can lend money to our users for, bridging finance.
Okay.
Auction purchases, light refurbishments, and things like that. So this is the way we monetize the platform.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. For bridging and things, again, I'm just trying to fend off questions I'm going to get afterwards, probably, which is, does that involve, I imagine being a bridger is quite intensive on the side of regulation and stuff like that. Do you have to have lots of stamps and badges on your websites and things?
Yes, of course, but basically, mainly in terms of security, GDPR, all of those stuff that you have to do, and others things that you need to make sure that you set up. But we do only non-regulated bridging finance, so we will do only for buy to let.
Gotcha.
And on the mortgage side, definitely we have an AR for a broker company. So yeah, of course, it's something that we take seriously, basically.
Great stuff. So what's in a minute, I'm going to get Aviram to show those who show us or tell us a little bit about how it works sort of live. But before I get into that, what would be the one line sort of, you told us a little bit about Landlord, but what would be the one line pitch for it? What's the thing that's going to get people excited? For example, is the idea that you can manage and expand your portfolio from your mobile, or like what's the current, I don't want to say slogan, that sounds like I'm being disparaging, but what's the idea at the moment?
So the main slogan is run and grow your portfolio or property business in a digital way. But I would say also you can keep your portfolio in your pocket, because
Nice.
available from everywhere, all the data in one place. You can analyze this on the go. But I think the main thing for us is make decision based on data, less on intuition. Because if you manage all your details and your cash flow, track the performance of your properties, and before you invest, you analyze the deal carefully using our deal analyzer, and you get all the information you need about the postcode using our postcode information page, then you mitigate risk. Basically, you will make decisions based on data. So we encourage our users to use the platform to make better decisions and to provide them with the tools to help them make those decisions.
Excellent. Last question before we get into having a look at it, which is, it seems to me that compared to lots of other industries, whether that's chemical engineering or transportation or whatever, property's been a bit slow on the tech side, especially when you look at smaller landlords, which is the bulk, probably certainly me and a bulk I think of our listeners. This sort of data drive to data, or whatever you want to call it, seems to have been a little bit slow on the uptake, given that fairly large amounts of money and life-changing amounts of money for individuals are on the line. This kind of idea seems to be fairly slow coming. Would you agree with that, or do you think maybe I've just not been looking in the right places?
I tend to agree. I think it's evolving. So I think that the prop tech industry, this where property technology, I think is growing in the industry, also in terms of investments. But there are many areas that are still, I think, like, technology is needed there. For us, we made a decision in the early beginning to approach the smaller landlords, which are like the majority. I think 92% of the landlords are, landlords with 9 properties or less on the portfolio. They own 70% of, the entire property market, and the 7%, the large companies own 30%. But they don't have solutions, as you mentioned, like the smaller, because of landlords. Because of that, therefore, we've built Landlord to provide a one-stop shop for the average investor, the smaller investor. So basically, you can source deals, you can analyze potential return, you can manage his existing portfolio, and also obtain finance all in one, solution. And yes, I think, but you can find now more and more solutions in the prop tech industry. But I agree that if you compare it to other industries, in the last decade, I would say it's a bit slower. Yes.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's without further ado, let's have a look into it. For those watching in black and white, the pink is the ball behind the green. Or more accurately, for Avram's going to now share his screen and show us some fancy things. But of course, for those listening on the podcast, we'll be clear about what's going on in terms of lights and colors. For those who have technology and have heard of something called YouTube, it may be that we try and launch this on there as a video. If anyone's still with me here, then exciting developments there. So for those on YouTube, obviously be able to follow along in brilliant Technicolor. Do you want to give us a quick tour of what Landlord is and what it looks like, Avram?
Sure. Yes. So basically, we have 3 main sections on Landlord. The first one is invest. So in the invest part, we find the property sourcing section. So here, basically, we have properties that are now up for sale from agents, from auction houses, and also you can find properties by category if you type an address and radius. You can also apply sourcing alerts, and then you get alert when price increase, price decrease, if you have like new properties based on your criteria and things like that. The second section is the deal analyzer, and here basically easily you can analyze a new potential acquisition. You just need to enter the purchase price and the monthly expected rent, and the platform will calculate the metrics for you for the long term and for the short term. And starting this point, you just need to tweak the data. You can run what if scenarios for the future. And then you can go to the postcode page to obtain market data about the postcode in terms of 5-year capital growth, property demand in the area, some analytics about crime, some data about the demographics, politics, commute method, data about schools in the area, and more. So basically, it helps you when you analyze a deal to make decisions based on data. You can also generate a nice report and share it with others. So this is the invest part. The second part is the manage. In the manage, you can manage on the My Portfolio tab your existing portfolio. And we basically store more than 150 different data items on each property. Each date that you put, you will receive a notification, an alert, reminder for this event. It will be your mortgage product expiry date, then the insurance due date, gas safety certificate, EPC, EICR, and more. And you can also apply filters to filter the data on My Portfolio. You can manage more than one owner on one Landlord account, and you can manage company owner properties and private owned properties. And you can also customize your view. So which fields you want to see. For instance, the equity view, I really like it. It's just the address, how much equity I have in this property, and the current loan to value. but you can click manage views, and then basically you can decide which columns you want to see on which view. Then on my documents, you can upload documents to a common level or for each property. So you can store the scarcity certificate, memorandum of sale, the purchase agreement, basically almost everything you need to store, and you can upload any document that you want. Then for each owner, you can store the documents for the owner. So let's say that you're applying for a mortgage, you have all the documents in place, and also for the company level. And then in the packages, you can create a package of documents and share them with others in a few clicks. Then on my tenants, you can manage your tenants and tenancies. On the payment schedule, you can track your rent collection. And then in the cash flow section, you can link your bank account and start, the platform will retrieve transactions for you. So you can allocate the transaction to the relevant property. And if it's a rent income, to the relevant tenant and payment, and you can apply rules. So it will be automatically allocated next time. And then you can review your profit and loss over time. You can generate report, P&L report, expenses breakdown report, tax report, and more. You have the interactive report, which will provide you with a high-level overview on your portfolio. And you can go property by property and see how this property ranked if you compare it to other properties in several metrics, get cash flow, cash on cash, gross yield, and more. So this is the managed side. The finance part of the platform. So here you can find mortgage products from many buy-to-let lenders, and this is based on your profile. So the platform will analyze your existing portfolio, and based on that, will match you with buy-to-let lenders, and then you can apply online for a mortgage as well using the digital broker. And for bridging finance, you can generate indicative terms for bridging finance, again, in a few clicks. You just need to answer several questions, and you will get your indicative terms. And then you can track your bridging application online, and your mortgage application online as well. So you can review mortgage illustration, mortgage offer, everything on a Landlord. Yeah, so this looks like, in a high level, like 3 sections: invest, manage, finance. Over to you, Tom.
Thanks. First of all, anyone spotting me on the YouTube? Normally, of course, nobody can see me, so I can scratch my face as much as I like. Anyone spotting me using the magnifying glass? I'm blind. Give me a break. But it's definitely time for a new prescription. More importantly, that looked quite impressive. Maybe I should maybe I should try and sound less surprised. But that looked great. Looked like one of the reasons I'm pausing, I think, is because I'm trying to think what's missing. In the end, I can't think of very much that's missing, as in all the major sections of being a landlord, or as you say, growing a portfolio, managing the properties and getting finance. There might be something missing, but I can't immediately think what it is. Maybe planning. I need help with planning. It's not on there, but it seems very comprehensive. So that's not a question. That's I suppose a compliment. What would be a question? Might be something like, what challenges do you face with the platform, if any, and what are your plans to grow it or improve it in the short and medium term?
So I think that the part that we still need to develop, and we are developing, is the tenants side. So we just launched a tenants app.
Yeah.
So you can invite your tenant to join his own Landlord dashboard, and there you basically can share, relevant documents. Actually, you need to, in order to be compliant, you need to share some documents with your tenants. So you can do it in a digital way in a few clicks. You can share the payment schedule with the tenants and also receive the payments for the rent. And also your tenant will be able to report maintenance issues, and you can get notifications when those reports are being made. So this is also something that we already launched. I think that what we're still missing is the part of advertising the apartment or the property for new tenants. So we will invest more like during the next few months in this area as well.
Okay. And what's feedback been like from your current users? If you don't mind me asking, do you know roughly how many current users you have? Is it growing?
So yeah, we like crossed the 20,000 users, and we get constant feedback from our user base.
Mm.
Not just feedback, great tool and things like that, but also feedback that allow us to enhance the platform based on their like real needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, all in all, we are happy with the feedback.
No, it's brilliant, isn't it? 20,000 users is roughly 20,000 more than I've got. So so you're doing very nicely. And then how do you I was going to say, how do you grow something like this? The obvious way is keep getting more users, isn't it? And then keep being able to give more value back to your users. Is that, have I answered my own question as usual?
I think it's yes and no, because definitely like our main goal is to onboard more users. But the thing that if you look at like the tech industry, and like when you develop a product, you want to optimize the product to bring the best value it can bring in order to get more from your users. So basically, they can use more features, or it's a business. We need to generate income eventually, and I think that the way startups do it is basically if they provide value to their users. So I think for any startup, it's not just obtaining and getting more users, but also increasing the engagement level, introducing new features. And as you said, like we always ask what is missing, like you said, what we can add more to get more users like engaging with the platform or logging more to the platform, not on a weekly basis but perhaps daily basis, and things like that.
Okay. And with that in mind, looking at it from a slightly different angle and thinking about the people listening and watching to us now, is what are one or two of the pain points or frustrations that you think landlords might face that Landlord can fix that problem? Obviously, you've just looked at the technology, looked at the application, but who's your target market? Is it landlords who are thinking, yeah, this is okay, but it's frustrating? What's the pain point they might be facing that might bring them to want to use Landlord?
I think one pain point for like active investors or newbies that just want to get started is that they see, okay, I can purchase this property, needs some light refurbishment, and again I'm going to refinance or sell it. But they don't take into account all the associated costs, in terms of legal fees, inspection costs, stamp duty, the refurbishment costs. We do have, by the way, planning for like schedule of works for renovation projects. So I think that using Landlord will basically help them understand if the numbers stack up and if they take into account all the associated costs with this purchase, and also what like other parameters that it's I think hard to calculate, like occupancy rate. Okay, so when you invest in a buy-to-let property for 10 years, you need to know that there will be some periods with no tenants, that there is no income. You need to factor it in when you calculate your potential return. You need to have some spares in terms of cash, because there will be repairs that you need to do over time. And I think using technology answers this pain point, because when you do it, you can do it by with Excel spreadsheets, but using software, everything is factored in, it's accessible from everywhere. We already thought about it in advance. So I think this is one thing. And the second thing in the managed side is the due dates. So if you self-manage your properties, it's very hard to keep track all the due dates. When you need to renew the gas safety certificate, when it's time to get the EPC, EICR, when is my mortgage product is about to expire, landlord insurance, all of this stuff, rent review, tenancy agreement end. We also help the private investor landlords that want to manage the properties by themselves. They can also use Landlord, and they save them a lot of pain.
Yeah, it's interesting. You answered the question because you talked about things that might inspire people to move across to using Landlord, but also it strikes me that it may be that it may be that after 5 or 10 years of using a program like this, then you might find that those people are doing better because they're basing it on data, on numbers, which of course are projections, but probably better using projections that have been come up with by software that's been used across by 20,000 landlords currently, rather than your best guess and finger in the air, which is what a lot of landlords I speak to still do. And probably, if I'm being honest, I still do to a certain extent, because we don't use software like this at the moment. So, maybe it's something we should look into as well. Okay. Did you want to have any Jerry Springer style final thoughts? Anything you've not covered you wanted to bring to the audience? Or are you happy?
I would say, like, in general, we encourage people like to utilize technology, like to find, like, in their area or like their expertise, if there are tools that can be used in order to streamline their processes and save them time and money. And I think in our area, I think Landlord is one solution that can definitely help, property investors and landlords. So, I would just, recommend everyone to try it out. You can sign up for free, and tell us your feedback. We have a chat box that you can actually connect with the team, ask questions, make suggestions for new features and things like that. So feel free.
Super. Well, I think that's a great place to round it out. So thank you very much, of course, to our speaker, Aviram Shahar. Thank you very much to everyone who's listening and possibly for the first time watching. Really appreciate all of you. If you're looking to get some property mentoring, don't forget to go and visit bestpropertymentoring.com, where you'll find out about some of the best property mentoring available, which is surprisingly enough with me. And obviously go and check out Landlord. We should say, because people are lazy, including me, where do people need to go to check out Landlord? What's the easiest way to do it for those who can't be bothered reading the podcast notes?
So you can just either search Landlord with Landlord on Google, or go to landlord.io, our website, and there you will get all the information you need about the platform, and click sign up for free and create an account and start work. There is no onboarding process or something like that. You can, instantly start to get value from the platform by signing up.
That's it. Thanks, everyone. See you again.